Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's me here again and thank you very much for joining me. So, round 7, last round of the Currie Cup before the playoffs. And we've seen a lot of changes happening in the log over the last couple of weeks. It's been jumping around all over the place. Currie was still looking very strong even after this weekend, but we've seen some serious upsets as well. Again, we're now talking the Sharks versus the Eling Pumas from last weekend, DHL Western Province versus the Boland. We then have ADT Lions versus the Griquas, and of course Vodacom Bulls, not last but not least, going up against the Cheetahs. Not that it would have changed anything for the Bulls at this point in time, but definitely for the Cheetahs. And a lot of positional changes happening, affecting the playoffs for the quarterfinals going into this next weekend. So we are going to have some exciting rugby to talk about. Right, so we have the Hollywood Bet Sharks that took on the Eling Pumas in Durban. And that was probably the first upset, although not quite unexpected. The Sharks has been showing a lot more performance, a lot better performance this last couple of weeks, and so that definitely kind of translated into this victory for them, although they still did give the Pumas a losing bonus point that will hopefully kind of rescue their standings within the playoffs coming up. 19-13 is the final score between these two, so yeah, it was definitely a hard-fought match. Eling Pumas tried their level best to mount a massive defense, but eventually it was the forward packs of the Sharks that just kept badgering their defenses and eventually broke through. So yeah, massive tries by your Penkle, especially the one that just led from the little grubber from Siamasuku. That was absolutely brilliant. I mean, your Penkle just did kind of just sort of a bit of a help forward towards the try line, and it eventually became a foot race between him and I think it was Lindy Msenge that eventually, unfortunately, Yor did win it. So, but if Yor hadn't been able to ground that ball, I truly think it would have been a penalty try. Lundi Msenge obviously did try and his level best to outrun Yor, but just wasn't to be. So just as they arrive at the goal line, before Yor could actually just jump on the ball, Msenge just grabbed him from behind. So that's playing the player without the ball. And if that basically ended up disallowing the try or messing up the try, I think definitely a penalty try would have been the order of the day, and Msenge would have seen himself on innocent bin for 10 minutes. Speaking of which, the discipline of the Eling Pumas just wasn't quite as it should be. With Edwin Swart that suffered a yellow card due to an illegal tackle in the first half. So there's already one guy off for 10 minutes, and the Sharks obviously took full advantage of that. Ross Broder did manage to get a nice little chip and chase going that resulted in a try for Msenge. So yeah, all in all, it was a good game. Absolutely loved it. It was phenomenal type of play by these two teams. Siamasuku's kicking was definitely on board, and I can see him going far now, coming with a URC coming as well. I think it's the Stormers that first now facing off against Ospreys on the 3rd of October coming. So yeah, definitely something to look forward to now with the Currie Cup drawing to a close. I will be covering, obviously, as per usual, all the URC games as well. Brilliant game, brilliant game. It just unfortunately such a sad event for the Eling Pumas. They've been doing quite well within the Currie Cup, but with this last 2-3 weeks turnaround of the Sharks, it was just a very hard fight for them, unfortunately, with Pepsi Buthelezi, Yor Penkle, and then Francois Venter each getting their try going. And then, yeah, the Siamasuku was, with his kicking boots on, was just doing absolutely phenomenal in that game. Okay, so now coming to the Western Province versus the Bull and Cavaliers this weekend, a massive game. And one of the first upsets of the weekend. This game being hosted at the DHL Stadium by the Western Province, and they walked away with a massive victory. First one of the Currie Cup season, and definitely the biggest one, I think, of recent years. To be honest, beating the Cavaliers 40-22. That's definitely going to affect the Bullans' standings within the quarterfinals coming up this weekend. But there's definitely a reason, I think. I mean, if you look at the team makeup that was suddenly back. Rouanel, Dion Fourie, JD Schekling, Ivan Roos, Leland Zas. So definitely Yuri Mattia and also Marcel Teunissen. So definitely a lot of the veterans from the URC team coming right back into the Western Province game. Obviously coming from the pre-match or pre-season kind of warm-up or preparations. And I think definitely that had something to do with it. You know, all the fresh blood. Jonathan Roche scoring a beautiful try, as well as Vernon Montongo. A fantastic try really early on in the game. And but definitely Yuri Mattia as well, replacing Jean-Luc Duplessis quite early on in the game due to injury, unfortunately. And obviously I don't think Labib just wanted to take too many chances with him, with the URC coming up pretty shortly. Like I already said, they're facing Ospreys on the 3rd of October, so that's going to be a massive game. He wants, obviously, everybody ready for that. So Leland Zas scoring a fantastic try, same as Adre Smith, making his debut game in the Currie Cup for the Western Province, scoring 2 tries with his game. Absolutely fantastic. Yuri Mattia had his kicking boots on, making 5 conversions in total. So Dion Fourie also leading from the front, absolute stalwart. And I think he's very much happy with this, the performance of the boys and the victory last weekend, seeing that this was his 100th cap for the Western Province and Stormers. So absolutely wonderful game to watch. Anyway, there is a bit of a news coming in during the course of the game. One of the staff for Supersport basically had a little interview, unscheduled, I suppose, with Dion Fourie's wife, and she kind of dropped a bit of a hint that Dion Fourie might be, kind of tossing in the towel at the end of the season. She's obviously a move that she's pretty happy with, meaning that he will spend more time with her and the kids and all of that. So we're definitely going to miss him if this is true, and but I hope, wish him all the best, and obviously some well-deserved time with the family and all that. Whether we're still going to see him with the Springboks for the 2027 World Cup, that remains to be seen. But I think retiring from amateur and professional rugby, that seems to be on the cards. But the more noticeable performances here was by Yuri Mattia, with 5 conversions in his on his cap, or under his cap, and absolute beautiful play by the Western Province. Just capsized the entire game on with maul upon maul upon maul, just getting multiple tries off rolling mauls and really strong front row play. And then the Boerland, the fact that they received 3 yellow cards also didn't help. Jaden Bantam being one of the culprits due to a cynical attempted tackle on Leland Zas. As I think Yuri Mattia went into contact, he presented the ball. Leland Zas come from the sort of a cross run from behind, trying to scoop the ball up as he goes, and Bantam just basically putting out his hands, knocking Leland Zas off target. Number one, he comes in from the side into this ruck. The ruck is formed, and basically then as he's on his knees, he plays Leland Zas as he comes in to try and retrieve the ball. That is seen as a cynical play by the referee, and he gets a yellow card. Not the only yellow card, Donovan Don also getting one for himself, which really didn't help. And then, yeah, all she wrote basically from there on. Making it a very, very difficult position for the Boland Cavaliers now going forward into the quarterfinals, but I'll cover that in just a minute or so. So, yeah, ADT Lions versus Suzuki Griquas. Second upset of the, the weekend. Going into the quarterfinals, we've seen the ADT Lions now over the last 2 weeks making a serious comeback attempt, really playing strong rugby, front row heavy, massively front row heavy. The kickoff was delayed by 1 hour in Ellis Park due to a thunderstorm, which we kind of know and we've come to expect now going into summer. You know, that kind of summer rainfall areas in the northern Transvaal or Gauteng area. And yeah, it's something to be expected as you go into summer over there. The sort of mid-afternoon thunderstorms become more regular. Henko van Wyk scoring a brilliant try, so also Richard Creel, Nico Steyn, Angelo Davis, Kieran Horn, Chris Smith with 3 conversions and 2 penalty goals. This was a point-scoring machine that was just unleashed here. Beating Griquas by 30 points, 37-7. Griquas only managing 1 try and conversion for this game, by Lawrence Oosthuizen and George Whitehead converting. Oosthuizen scored early, scored an early try, and it was just sort of, through a multi-phased attack, really also going front row heavy, and then eventually just barging over the line, sort of at the end of it, 5 minutes into the game, so very early on, and then Lions just opened the floodgates and they were letting them have it. So the momentum completely shifted, and the Griquas just was unable to wrestle any kind of feasible pressure back from the Lions to try and mount some kind of a counter offense, and it just went downhill from there. It was just they were unable to contend the Lions' multi-pronged attacks, constantly badgering their forwards and the defensive lines. Discipline wise, Zwelin Daba got a yellow card as well in the first half, which also the Lions took very much advantage of. And then established a really dominant pressure at play for the rest of the game, which, like I said, Griquas was unable to wrestle back from them at any cost or any time during the game. So yeah, that is unfortunately how it is, and I think the board has completely shifted, with the Lions now lying on top of the Currie Cup log. And as I said last week, this was a seesaw matchup. I mean, I've never seen a log changing positions so many times in one tournament. It was just amazing. But there we go. I mean, I will cover the log towards the end of the segment, and yeah, we'll see how it goes into the quarterfinals now coming up this next weekend. So now, third and final upset to the entire Currie Cup weekend, Bulls versus Toyota Cheetahs. Now, of course, same as with the Sharks and the Western Province, Bulls doesn't have a flying hope in hell to make the quarterfinals. But yet, that didn't deter them from making a strong comeback after getting a good advantage on the log within the beginning of the Currie Cup, taking a massive slump sort of in the middle towards the end, and now today or this week basically making a very, very strong comeback, beating the Cheetahs 35-31. Cheetahs walking away there with a losing bonus point on Loftus Versfeld. The Bull stronghold, and absolutely what a game. Marcel Coetzee, Cheslin Uester making 2 tries actually in the game. Fantastic attacking plays going on there. Gomede getting himself a try as well in the blue jersey. David Creel, and then Keegan Johannes just also with, I mean, this was a weekend with some fantastic kicking rugby. Keegan Johannes making brilliant, it's almost like him making his boots sing, getting 5 conversions as well in this game. The Cheetahs also made a massive attempt at counterplay with Karel Jan Coetzee, Jan Reinel, Prince Nkabinde, Pierre Raymond Uys, and then Vernon Paulo, all scoring their own tries. And then Cohen Jasper, fantastic with 3 conversions. Unfortunately not making a 4th, but still, making some really good playing going on. I mean, Cohen Jasper is a very strong player, and I'm really thinking that we're going to see a lot more of him, especially with the EuroC coming up. He's going to be a very strong contender for the team there. Keegan Johannes, perfect kicking, 5 out of 5, making some brilliant conversions. Really helping the score, his team on with the scoreboard. And then the junior Bok, Cheswell Uester, showcasing his absolute brilliance with 2 tries. Like I said, this weekend was a fantastic weekend for rugby. It was just rugby entertainment, pure out of the highest echelons this entire weekend, which, makes me always so happy. The Bulls scored 4 tries for a commanding 28-5 halftime score, and then the Bulls forward pack just completely hitting the Cheetahs where it hurts with massive scrums and line-out mauls, just taking command and just not letting up any kind of pressure throughout the entirety of the game. The Cheetahs making some notable comebacks with 4 tries in the second half, but unfortunately too little too late to make any kind of impact for a victory. But they did get the bonus point try, and absolutely going from strength to strength. I think the Cheetahs who has qualified for the quarterfinals now, obviously they have been performing extremely well within this Currie Cup. And after a massive slump, I think over the last 2 seasons, excluding this one, where the Cheetahs hasn't been doing that well in the Currie Cup performances. I think they did make the quarterfinals last year, but wasn't able to go through to the semis and finals. Unfortunately, the finals, as we know, came down to the Sharks going up against the Lions, and that absolute beautiful steal by Jaden Hendrickse in the final sort of dying moments of that game, securing the Sharks the victory for the Currie Cup that season. So now, standing as it is on the scoreboard, Fidelity ADT Lions 26 points, right on top. 5 wins so far, qualified for the quarterfinals. Suzuki Griquas 25 points, just 1 point below them. Also making their qualifier. Toyota Cheetahs lying 3rd at the moment, 23 points qualified. Salambola and Cavaliers 23 points, lying equal with the Toyota Cheetahs, securing their qualification for the quarterfinals as well. Ailing Pumas unfortunately eliminated, like I said, and they can thank the Sharks for that. All the Sharks EuroC players that came back and now making a huge impact for them in that game, knocking the Ailing Pumas out completely, securing the Toyota Cheetahs standing within the quarterfinals now for this season around. Vodacom Bulls, we knew already by last week that they were out, standing at 15 points on the sixth place. And then, of course, Hollywood Bet Sharks standing at 14 points in 7th place, with the DHL Stormers At least not going home empty-handed, standing at 6 points, right at the bottom of the log. But at least, I mean, like, it could have been 1 point. The one lonely bonus point that they got right at the beginning of the season, playing against the Sharks, they did manage to get a losing bonus point there, but unfortunately, or fortunately for them, they did score the victory this weekend, which raised them up to, seeing another 5 points added to the scoreboard there. Right, so the fixtures for the finals playoffs coming up. Game number 1, Lions versus Boland Cavaliers. That's going to be Saturday at 5 o'clock at Ellis Park, Johannesburg. This is going to be massive. Lions has smelled blood, and they're not letting go. Boland Cavaliers, I hope you guys got your socks pulled up right up to under your chins, because this is going to be a hard game. If you guys are going to have to work on your discipline, it totally failed you this last weekend. And I hope you're not going to, let it fail you again this coming weekend, because that's going to, honestly, you're going to see an early knockout if you're going to be playing like that. Griquas versus Cheetahs. Griquas, I think, has got the better chance of winning here, which unfortunately will then be seeing the Cheetahs getting a bit of a knockdown at the Suzuki Stadium in Kimberley. So Griquas is on their home turf, which again kind of puts the Cheetahs on the back foot. So yeah, that's so far the kind of the games coming up now. So that is actually the semi-finals, if I'm not mistaken, going forward now, and then obviously with the finals being which is a bit weird, because I seem to remember that there should be a quarter-final round, but there's only 4 teams basically that qualified for the finals now. I mean, with the Ailing Pumas being eliminated. So yeah, both those matches is going to be broadcast live on SuperSport. So book your seats in front of the telly if you haven't been able to book yourself a spot in the stadiums. The tickets obviously being available through various ticket outlets online. So please, if you are able and you can get to the stadiums, get yourself a ticket, go support the boys. And now, of course, last but not least, we are covering the Springboks versus the All Blacks. This was supposed to be the derby of the ages. I mean, like I said last week, that last time that the Springboks managed to beat the All Blacks at Eden Park, Auckland, was in 1937, and well, that the All Blacks unbeaten streak still stands. It's now up to about 51 matches unbeaten in Eden Park. So definitely not the performance that we wanted or expected. Coach Rassie and Captain Jesse Creel basically, displaying their disappointment in the way they played and the performance for the weekend. Their hopes of making history absolutely dashed for this weekend. Imoni Narawa basically scoring a very early try, but I have reservations about some things, but I will cover that a bit later. Will Jordan getting another try for himself, and then Quinn Tupea as well. Tupa Vai making a massive show about a held up try, or that he prevented, or I think it was a turnover ball that he got sort of in the dying moments for the All Blacks, and then making a massive celebration about that. Some people found that in a bit, distasteful. I don't know. I mean, when you score a advantage for your team, you are pretty happy about it. I suppose, he kind of, excessively celebrated that little small victory for himself, and, well, okay, give it to him. The young man, it's a massive, feather in his cap, being able to give that kind of turnover and advantage to his team. Ori Surveyor as well, scoring a milestone match for himself. I think it's his 50th cap for the All Blacks, and describing it as a mesmeric and sublime on his milestone match. So, yeah, very good performance for him as well. Damien McKenzie scoring 2 conversions and 1 penalty. It wasn't Bowden Barrett's weekend. Missing some quite crucial conversions as well. Sasha Fambankomozulu scoring 2 conversions as well after being, replacing Handré Pollard. Handré Pollard not performing as we are used to him performing, only scoring 1 penalty goal for the Springboks, and that was basically where it stopped. So yeah, there was quite a few changes made. Quite a few changes made to the team for this coming match in Wellington, and so we're carrying it forward now onto the Castle Lager Inc. International series. Villaroo had a a really bad night as well, but overall, kind of performances by the Springboks wasn't up to standard. Unfortunately, the forwards made massive pushes, absolutely brilliant attacks going. Unfortunately, not all of them, reflecting on the scoreboard. Coach Rashi basically saying that, the defeat was due to some 15 poor performances. But yeah, the play was just error-ridden. A lot of penalties coming the way of the Springboks, although there was quite a bit of criticism on the referee for this match by plenty of people, outside of rugby, ex-rugby players, people, from, in the international rugby community. I think Victor Macfield did put it very well when he said, some of the best matches, or these big matches, do deserve the best referees. And Dickinson unfortunately did not perform as a world-class ref would be expected to perform. A lot of penalties missed, a lot of erroneous penalties called, side entries that just wasn't called. I think there was the one try right at the beginning of the game. I think it was Ori Surveyor, I'm not sure. Ori Surveyor goes down in a tackle, gets back up and starts running again. Does not really relinquish control of the ball as he goes off his feet. Now, that is, in the rule book, it's described that you've got to let go of the ball. As soon as you are tackled, you're off your feet, you've got to let go of the ball. You can get back up, but then but only then can you pick up the ball and start running again. So that was completely missed. A few confusions. There was one confusion with the line out by Malcolm Marx. He did indicate something about his ear. Don't know if he couldn't hear somebody, and if the Springboks started, sort of jumping earlier. To me, it just looked like they were shifting positions within the line out, and the ref penalized them possibly for that. Now, you can't possibly punish a team for trying a specific tactic in the line out. So yeah, I don't know how that works. But there were several other kind of calls by the referee that I just didn't agree with. The obstruction call against Peter Steph du Toit. I mean, he was about good 10 meters away from Villaroo that retrieved the ball from a high kick. How was that an obstruction? How, yes, there was a All Black player that basically ran into him, but he could have ran around him. This was 10 meters away from where Villaroo retrieved the ball, so there's no way he was going to make it in time to tackle Villy. How's that an obstruction? The obstruction call against Bowden Barrett, when he clearly jumped up to basically retrieve the ball. There was 3 players that made the leap for the ball. I think it was not sure. I think it was Kenan Moody with, I think, Ori Surveyor and Bowden Barrett. All three basically jumping the same high ball. And then suddenly Bowden Barrett gets punished for obstructing. How does that work? I don't know. I'm not sure. But really bad and poor performance by referee Tickinson in this match. And did that rob the Springboks of their victory there? I'm not too sure. I don't think I will completely go haywire. Maybe, you can give me your comments in the comments field, your opinions. Do you think that did make a difference to the final score? Did it not? I'm going to reserve my opinion on that one because, yeah, the Springboks didn't perform as they should have. They made a lot of handling errors, a lot of unforced errors as well in the game. So I'm not going to pile the blame on Dickinson's shoulders for this one. Yes, he did perform really poorly as a referee in this match, but I think the Springboks also to a measurement kind of their own enemy. Own worst enemy in this match. The All Blacks obviously went all out. This was just a matter of honor for them, and they weren't gonna. I mean, really, want to go for the 31-year unbeaten record on Eden Park, extending that lead now to 51 matches in total. That is that they've gone undefeated in Eden Park. Their stronghold, their fortress, as they called it. And then, yeah, fans absolutely roaring of, I mean, it was a packed stadium. I mean, 48,312 fans, basically all going off at once when Damien McKenzie made that final kick, extending the lead to 7 points. So luckily, Springboks still walk away with a bonus point there, losing bonus point, but still, we would have loved to kind of end the All Blacks 50 match reign or victory reign in Eden Park, but unfortunately not to happen. Maybe next time. But I think this kind of gave Coach Rassie a real excuse to take a long hard look at some of the player structure and match tactics, set plays that's been happening within the Springbok game. Even Etzebeth also being pulled off sort of in the second half. He's not going to be available for the match in Wellington. Dwayne Vermeulen basically saying that he's going to be given a bit of a rest, as Coach Rassie doesn't want to, obviously, because he is a good player, it is kind of the norm that you would want to use them. But I think players such as him, they need their rest. They need their sort of rest and recovery period. And if you're going to keep on just throwing these players into the game, into the thick of it, then you're going to start sitting with a lot of injuries, injuries that you cannot afford. So looking at the table as it stands at the moment for the Rugby Championship, New Zealand standing comfortably right at the top. Australia now slotting in at second with 9 points, and then South Africa only scoring 5 points at the moment. They're lying equal with Argentina. South Africa coming in at third place, Argentina in fourth place. So that is the table standing at the moment for the Castlelager Rugby Championship, and I'm hoping that something will happen now coming up for the game in Wellington this next weekend. So hoping that we will be able to get a bit more of an oomph there, maybe hopefully defeating New Zealand and proudly taking our slot back into number 2 in this World Rugby, in the Rugby Championship. The world standings at the moment, I'll have to kind of get back to you guys on that one, as I'm not too sure how it is standing at the moment. But coming up for the Wellington match, we're going to need to put in a lot more effort. There is quite a few key changes. I think at about 10 changes in total that's been made now for the Wellington challenge. We'll have to see how the Springboks handle this. But that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much for watching yet again. and I hope to see you guys, this next week coming, as I'm covering the semi-finals for the Currie Cup, and of course the match in Wellington as well. From the standings, as I can see, between let me see here, I think it was Australia and Argentina. Australia taking this one from Argentina 28-24. Yeah, unfortunately, it seems like the Australians really have found their groove now again. This time around, and they're probably going from strength to strength. Argentina, don't count them out just yet. There is another round coming for Argentina versus Australia. Who knows? Maybe there'll be another upset, as we've seen them, really going from strength to strength as well as a team. So that's it from me, guys. Thank you very much from a very welcome and slightly warmer Cape Town, although today was quite cold as well. But I hope to see you guys next weekend. Please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already, and of course, give me your comments below. I always loved hearing from you guys, and but take care of yourself and your loved ones. I'll see you next weekend. Peace out.
Too good, too good. Skills coming through here.
Flat pass is a good one. Yuri Mattia really finding his players. Jonathan Roche with the burst of pace. Can he get it down? Yes. DHL Western Province get one with Jonathan Roche.